From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Morning Line with Nick Beres.
Nick Beres here on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday. It's good to have you. We've got an interesting show on tap. I'm going to hope some of you want to call in and talk, because we're going to discuss what I believe to be a purely American tradition, which is fantastic. Every state, mostly counties, I guess there's city fairs, but I'm talking about state fairs, county fairs, and dare I say, here in Tennessee, we have, in my opinion, and I've lived all around the country, one of the very best county fairs, which is now affiliated with the state in the entire country. And I'm talking about the Wilson County Fair. Wilson County Fair is underway. It's fantastic. It runs through Saturday. How many of you have gone? Have you gone? Have you followed much of our coverage with it? We're going to share some photos with you here in just a moment of what has happened over the past week, which is pretty cool. But I can tell you right now, the fair has set attendance records, I think, for a variety of reasons. One, you know, it was 2 years ago. Last year was the first year. The state came to the Wilson County Fair Board and said, look, we'd like to integrate the state fair with the Wilson County Fair. And you're like, well, why that? There's fairs everywhere. The state used to have a state fair downtown Nashville. That one eventually just kind of faded away. And the state fair recognizes that Wilson County has a national reputation with Fiddler's Grove and everything else for having such a great fair. My main concern was, when this happened and the board agreed to it, was that somehow bringing the state fair into the mix would somehow damage what the Wilson County Fair has achieved all these years. And in my opinion, that has not happened. I think it has brought an influx of money. And if you've been out to the fairgrounds, you've seen a huge expansion and constant construction of new buildings and the like, which are really handy for the fair and for other events year-round. I think it's also increased, the draw. People are coming. Well, that's not only just the Wilson County Fair, it's the state fair, though, frankly, people were, in my opinion, before this ever happened, Wilson County was the state fair. It was the best, the biggest, and there's some other good fairs, don't get me wrong. But if you go to all of them and you check it out, if you're unbiased, and I've been to a bunch, and I think they're all terrific, Wilson County's the best. I mean, because of Fiddler's Grove, the size of it, everything else they have, in the location. Anyway, the attendance figures set this past Saturday, the highest Saturday ever in the history of the fair. 133,000 people showed up. And since then, it's continued, and I think in large measure because we've had some really, really good weather over this past week, which that ties in. But the fair has just been great, and it's all about, celebrating the 95 counties in the state, representation from all around. Have you been there? I don't know. Let me just share my personal experience. When it comes to the fair, my wife and I have been going for years. We went with her when she was pregnant with my son more than 20 years ago, and she had a craving for ices or snow cones. And so we would go, and that's where it all started. My son went through the years to the fair, and our tradition now is, we go every year, but we try to get there the very first Thursday when it opens, and we show up a little before the gates open, and we get in there, and we walk around kind of like right at the beginning to check it all out. But of course, for her especially, me too, we just love the fair food once a year. And I'm talking corn dogs, and talking about fair food, we're sharing a few pictures. It's been my honor to be asked to judge a bunch of events, and this is the first year that they had a banana tasting pudding contest, or banana pudding tasting contest. And there I am judging. It looks like casseroles. There were about 30 banana puddings entered from around the state. And it's weird to me. If you think country county fair, you'd think banana pudding would have been one of the things they've judged for years. No, this is the first. I mean, they have cornbread judging, they have pie judging, they have barbecue judging. This is the first, and I thought it was perfect, and it's going to become a regular event. But there it is, judging it, and there was the winner out of the 30 entries. And I've got to double check her name. I had it written down, and I ran up here. But there were so many entries, a bunch of people, and it turns out the winning one, and it was blind judging, we didn't know who it was this sweet older woman who entered. She is 90 years old. Her recipe was tried and true. The three judges, all of them were good. We all agreed, wow, whoever made this one's terrific. And it just worked out perfect. I mean, I'm happy for anyone that wins. You could just tell how tickled she was when she came up and was awarded the ribbon for Best Banana Pudding in the state. And you can say that because you've won the competition. at the state fair. All right, so I said other things that I've done at the fair this week. Like I said, call me if you need me to judge a barbecue contest or anything along those lines. We've got some other photos you can just throw up there if you'd like as we go through this. And just talking about the fair, I was going to ask you too, the viewer, if you haven't been, you've probably been to a fair sometime in your life before, but what is your focus at the fair? Is it the rides? It's amazing how you get older and you've been going a period of time. You evolve out of the fair midway. It's still great walking down to the midway. It's just like lights and glitz and these rides and the noise, and especially a lot of the youngsters that are there. I can't handle, even if I wanted to, a lot of those rides anymore, the roller coasters and the like. But what do you like, all right? The number on the screen, 737-7587. First question to you, all right, do you go to the midway? Do you ride the rides? If you're like me, if it's a spinning ride, forget it. Not doing it, don't feel like throwing up. All right, is it the food? For me, that's pretty much the top of the list. And if it is the food, what do you like? All right, I mean, there's cake by the slice. There's corn dogs. This guy makes these corn dogs there where he dips them and cooks them right there on the spot. And they're just awesome. I know they're not great for me, but I love them. Corn dogs. There's the sausage sandwiches. There's the funnel cakes. There's the potato that they fry. What else? What do you like? There's the lemon shake-ups. You know, what I haven't seen, and I think maybe some of the larger booths may have it, used to be that cotton candy was much bigger and they'd have it and they'd be making it, there'd be booths where they're making it and hand it to you fresh, which is pretty cool. But I didn't see a lot of cotton candy. There's snow cones. So is the food something that you go for? All right, what else do you have to choose from? The, I guess, poultry barn and the ducks and all that. I love walking through looking at the chickens. You know, I've got 2 chickens, Thelma and Louise, and I think I'm going to buy another one before the end of the year or before the end of the fair from one of the 4-H folks. These 4-H kids do a fantastic job. They take care of these chickens, they enter them, they win ribbons, and then they make some money selling them. I like to buy chickens from them. But I love going through the poultry barn, the chicken barn. I was looking hard at buying this just incredibly colorful rooster named Jagger, after Mick Jagger. I really wanted it, and then I was reminded that they wake you up in the morning at the crack of dawn. And so I'm out on roosters. But then, okay, so I'm throwing that. The livestock barn, do you enjoy doing that? I love going in there and looking at the cows, the pigs. They'll bring some of them in that are giving birth. You can go to the birthing barn. I think that's awesome. What else do you like? Fiddler's Grove is one of the things that makes the Wilson County Fair unique. It's like an old pioneer village. You can walk through there and they have all kinds of arts and crafts. Homemade soap. They've got bluegrass music bands playing. You see them making cinnamon brooms and others. I mean, I think sometimes they'll have a horse out there grinding sugar cane, which they'll use to make, I think, sorghum molasses. That's the kind of stuff that's old school, and I just love it. So that you have that as an option as well. You have the parade, you have the pig races, you have a demolition derby, you have a ventriloquist who's terrific. I had done a story with him a long time ago that works there. And then it's just fun going through and looking at all, I think, of the agricultural stuff. You walk through some of the convention halls there, and they've got, you know, the biggest zucchini, and you have the prize-winning tomatoes and the prize-winning okras, and really the coolest part, I think, in there sometimes are the baked goods, the cakes. This year there was an entry, and I'm not sure if I think I posted it to my Facebook, Nick Beres NC5. This guy's an incredible baker. There's an entry of a giant horse's head. And it looks like a sculpture, and then you look closer and you realize it's a cake. And it won first prize, but I mean, there's just this, I mean, it's so well done. And then cookies and everything like that. My wife's trying to figure out how she can be a judge for the cookie. And as I go through this, I'm going to get some calls from you about what you like about state fairs. And we may be joined by a guest before the end of the show to talk about what's left with the fair, which runs through Saturday. But one of the exhibits that I love and will always be close to me is the beekeeping exhibit put on by the Wilson County Beekeeping Association. I remember going in there back in the early 2000s and just being amazed, watching the bees. They do such a great job with this exhibit. And I ended up back then signing up. They had a class you could take. It's free, and you could go to their Wilson County beekeeping meetings and learn how to beekeep. That was in 2005. My neighbor Jimmy Barkley and I set up our own beehives, and since then I've been a beekeeper. To this day I have a beehive behind my property in Lebanon, but I still have a jar of honey on my pantry shelf from 2006 that I harvested, and it's perfect and pristine. One thing you got to learn about honey, among other things, is as long as it doesn't get contaminated, you know, with outside things, It never, ever goes bad. And this jar, I will keep it forever, is from our first harvest in 2006. But the Beekeeping Association, still to this day, if you go there, has a sign-up list. Now, it's evolved. It's gotten bigger and more popular. And so they do charge a modest fee to go through a training. But if you go to the Wilson County Beekeeping Association training program, and I don't know, it's $25 for the class, which is just well worth it, I guarantee you, you will be able to be a beekeeper, and they will help you, walk you through the process, find the best way for you to buy what you need at an affordable price. And beekeeping is a great thing you can do for the environment, and let's face it, everyone likes fresh honey. So that's some of it. The Wilson County Fair has been a big part of my life for so long, and my family's life. We wanted to talk a little bit more about that this morning. So we'll take a break. The phone lines are open. Tell me about what you like about the fair. 737-7587 if you've been there or not. And then we'll take some of your calls if you're on hold. Lines are open. Jump in. Tell me if you've entered, if you won a ribbon. I'm going to tell you about a ribbon I won a few years back when we come back from this break after this.
Storm anxiety is real, and this is scary. And it's totally fine for scary things to feel scary.
We want to make sure that we are in that position to get to our safe place.
Safety is our priority. Your safety is our priority.
I see you asking questions, especially after the March 3rd tornado last year.
If you can help me get any messaging out to the people that are under the gun right now or those that are in the path of this, it would do a terrific amount of good.
This is a scary one to hear, that we've got people reported hiding out in their attics.
We want you to know that we have your back. I understand what it is to have small children that are a little scared, especially when they hear the wind howling. Yeah. So give them the confidence that they need. If you're informed, you're prepared, and you're taking action, you are doing a great job. So hear that from us.
Let's go to Diana. Hi, Diane.
Hi, I'm glad you're having this program. I've evidently had a lot of misconceptions about this myself.
Renting out a property for the long term is a business activity.
You come hang out in Nashville for more than 6 hours and you say, we have to do something to address the traffic situation.
I oppose what's being done.
He's truly obnoxious.
Where will this stop? This is what's going on. I oppose this man that you got on the show.
If our faith means anything, then it has to mean something in the darkest, most complicated places, and that's prison in our society.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Open Line.
All right, let's go to Joe. Joe, good morning.
You're streaming live on Facebook.
Oh, Larry. Larry, good morning.
The Misty on Facebook says a lot of guns should be banned.
Hi, Larry.
Taking the call.
Sure.
And several calls. Let's go to the phones. Laura. Hello, Laura.
What I'm finding listening to y'all is that this just is not a black and white issue.
We wake up each and every day and watch in awe at how we've grown, all we've accomplished, and what our community can do. We are all part of a transformation, sparkling with energy and spirit. Not every day is smooth sailing, and there's always hard work to be done. But we have so much for which to be grateful. We celebrate life's moments, large and small. We've invited everyone to share what makes our home special, welcoming, beautiful. We realize in the day-to-day stories of our city, it's not always easy to appreciate the big picture. These big pictures are brought to you by News Channel 5's Sky 5. Look for a fresh perspective each new day.
All right, we are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us live on the big show today. We're talking about the Wilson County Fair. We have some folks who have called in. We're going to talk a bit about the fair, but before we get to that, we want to get on the phone with a guest who will stay with us through most of the show. We were hoping to get him on Zoom, but we had some technical problems. But the beauty of that is we always have the phone to fall back on. And joining us now is, he's one of the hot shots at the fair. He also happens to be president of the Wilson Bank and Trust there, which is one of the banks I bank at. Randall Clemons, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I was under the impression that I'd be spending time this morning with my good friend and basketball playing partner, John Foster.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we should have had him here.
I mean, come on. Now, technically speaking, John's at the bank as well, and I saw him, I don't know, maybe you were with him. I saw him in the parade the first day of the fair.
Yes. Well, I wasn't in the parade. I actually am still on the board at the bank, but I actually retired in 2019. So John is now the president of the bank, and John McDermott's the CEO.
I figured as much. Well, and he's great, and Wilson Bank and Trust does so much for the community. So, Randall, now that you're retired, you spend a lot of your time working with the fair.
You got that right.
Well, I'll tell you, my wife and I love the fair. We've been going for years, and it's interesting. Let me get from you your take. I remember another good friend of mine involved with the fair, who I know you know well, is Lyndon Lefevre. And I remember talking to him last year when the discussion was about, the state coming to you and wanting to integrate with the Wilson County Fair. And I guess last year was the first year of it, and this year. And I think we all were open to the idea, folks like me, thinking, well, okay, but our big concern was, who's still really going to be in charge, and we don't want the fair from the state side coming in and messing up a good thing. How do you feel that's worked out?
This has worked out tremendous. It's a great partnership. We have retained the leadership and the control of the fair, but the state has been an important partner to us. Our goal was to involve every county in the state, all 95 counties, and we've been able to do that this year with Travel Tennessee, with all of our exhibits. We had 76 entries from different counties in our hay contest. Our Champion of Champions contest has been wonderful. We are so excited about the future, about the direction that we're going in while retaining the Wilson County Fair and all the things you've loved through the years. We're just able to add so many more new things as well. So we are very pleased of where we are. And I think our numbers...
I know. The numbers reflect it. Yeah. Setting attendance records this year, right?
We've set attendance records every day. We now went over 418,000 people last night, and we're up 168,000.
Wow. Now, part of that, I think, is certainly, the fair continues to grow, but the weather's been nice, hasn't it?
It's been the best weather we've ever had. Yes. So, yes, sir, that's definitely a major factor.
And the other thing I noticed getting back there, and I don't spend a lot of time out at the fairgrounds except during the week of the fair, but with the state, I know part of the agreement would be the state would be helpful in improving or working on access and traffic, which I find, considering the crowds, I think everyone's done a pretty good job, and the police and everyone else, and parking's been terrific. Also, the influx of money. I don't know. I mean, this is by all means a financially successful fair, but I was amazed at how many new structures have been built on the fairgrounds.
Well, we did not have space to handle the state fair part of it without new buildings. And so we have built a new 4-H FFA building. We've built a new perishable item building that houses only state fair entries. We have built a new event center, and under construction is the Made in Tennessee building, which is the largest building that will house only state fair exhibits starting next year. It will have the Travel Tennessee in it, and it will have all of the competitive exhibits from the state fair in it. So it is a wonderful new facility that will greatly enhance the state fair and the Wilson County Fair as we move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fantastic walking around and seeing. You know what I do like now, too, is you guys have built some of these structures, especially on those years when it's been really hot or you've had severe weather. It's always nice to walk into the expo center after maybe you've been out on the midway and cool off. Do you know what I mean?
It is a wonderful facility.
I mean, we've
been able to utilize it in a lot of different ways this year since we were lack of space for the state fair, and be able to do even greater things with it next year as we move the state fair parts into the new building.
You know, we've got a lot of the features, things that are still going on. Certainly the fair continues through Saturday, correct?
It does, and we have our 3 biggest days left to occur. And we have great entertainment. We have 10 stages of musical entertainment with different entertainment each night. Of course, we have 2 nights of demolition derby, which is our biggest event that we do. We have all types of competitive events. We have some new things that's only going to be occurring on these 3 days, such as we have a new dog show that just arrived yesterday that is going to be up by the petting zoo area. and it is a great new addition that's just for this weekend.
Well, what is the dog show? Do you know more details on that? I'm just curious because I love coming out and seeing those. Is it a demonstration or what, do you know?
No, it's frisbees.
Oh,
throwing frisbees to dogs.
That'll be awesome.
All type of interactive thing, and
yeah,
it's set up the big ring with seats around it, and it's going to really first time we've ever had this, so we're really excited about it.
The frisbee catching dogs will be fantastic. I think that's great. Of course, monster truck. You had a few new rides on the Midway, right? There's this wave swinger. One of our reporters actually came out and did a live shot earlier last week, I think, and he actually rode on it while he was doing it. Those giant swings, you know what I'm talking about?
I have ridden myself, and it's a wonderful ride. It's just come in from Italy, and it is a beautiful ride and been one of our most popular rides that we've had this year.
Yeah,
we have a lot of new rides. We have almost 70 rides here, and so it's a great experience if you like to ride.
Sure. What's interesting, with you, I get a little, peek behind the curtain at how this works out. When it comes to rides and things like this, how do you arrange it? You guys contract with a certain company that is responsible for bringing in the crew and all of the rides, or how do you know what rides are coming, or are you able to pick and decide which ones you like or don't like?
We actually contracted some 5 years ago with Rod Hopper Shows, which is one of the oldest amusement companies in America. And they play only state fair and national fairs, and we found them at the Georgia National Fair in Perry, Georgia. And so we already had a state fair carnival when we took this on. And they are constantly buying new rides, and they keep us a year in advance. We already know, that they're working on several other new rides for 2023. But we are so pleased with them. They've taken our fair to another level as well in the great rides they have and the great family operation they have as well.
Yeah. Whenever you're talking about this many people, and I was paying close attention to this when we showed up the first day, is the level of security. And it seems to me that you guys have done a good job having the security there, not to the point where it's overwhelming, but I mean, you feel safe at the facility. There are so many people, but in this day and age, I know, you're more concerned with that than ever before. Talk a bit about the steps you've taken about security and with regard to, among other things, no guns allowed.
Well, we have installed an extensive camera system. We are so well supported by the Wilson County Sheriff's Office and the Lebanon Police Department with a huge amount of law enforcement here. We did install the metal detectors this year, which have been a great success. They're very easy to walk through, but it has made us so much more secure. And so we are extremely pleased of the security system that we have throughout our grounds. Our system, it is locked down. We've got where you cannot get automobiles in here during the times we're open. And so we've taken our security to another level. And we had to because of the amount of attendance we have.
Yeah, I mean, that much. I was concerned at first. I remember asking one of the women as I made my way through one of the metal detectors. I'm thinking, we got there early before the lines were big, and she had the wand, and if it beeps, I was thinking, gosh, how are you going to manage? There are going to be people whose, belt buckles or shoes beep or something like that, and I was concerned that it would cause a big backlog, but there hasn't been an issue with that, has there? I mean, folks are getting in fairly quickly.
It has not slowed down the entrance to the fair at all. It's worked extremely well. We are very pleased with the system that we purchased.
Again, all bags are, expected to be clear, so you can see into them if you want to carry something in. As far as
that's just a recommendation. It is not required.
That makes it easier. And as far as you know, there have been no problems then up to this point?
No, there haven't. It's been a very smooth operated fair this year, and we are very thankful for that.
Great. Listen, Randall, we're going to take...
I would say this to people that's coming out, and it's important people knows this, that we have 1,800 volunteers that give over 100,000 hours each year to put this fair on. So as you come here, you're seeing one of the greatest examples of our volunteer state that you can see in the volunteers that we have, and they are unbelievable. And as people visit with us, sometimes there might be a little problem there, whatever, but just remember, these people are giving of their time to make this happen.
Absolutely. Listen, Randall, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to cover a few more things with you to try to let folks know what they can appreciate for the rest of the week and the like, if you'll stay with us. And then those other callers on hold, we're going to get to you in the final segment. So stick around. We'll be right back as we're talking the Wilson County Tennessee State Fair right after this. Hang with us, Randall.